What's up, my pilots? Welcome to Dark Souls. This game's fun. You guys know I've played Bloodborne before. I made a Let's Play of it. And I recently played Dark Souls for the first time. And it's quite a game. It wasn't as hard as everybody told me it would be because I was just expecting, more of Bloodborne, which is what I got. So, kind of works out. So for these basic character settings here, it doesn't really particularly matter what you pick. I like shaved head. So boom, we got our guy. Basic settings, I'm choosing Thief as my class so that I can start with the Master Key. I'll explain what that does later. And I'm choosing the Old Witch's Ring as my gift because we will be doing some pyromancy eventually. And that ring helps us talk to a lady who's good at it.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Every time I see that, it's like down, down, down in a burning ring of fire.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
Hey, it's me.
This is your fate.
We just have a big cell. Hey mate, I think you dropped something. Now we're playing Dark Souls. Technically it's Dark Souls Remastered. So this guy has the key to our cell. That's nice. Considering all we have to keep us company are some slow-crawling beetles. Or perhaps leeches. Some manacles that I presume we once were in, a bucket, a dead rat, and I'm not going to look in that. Oh, yep, that's full of shit. Holy moly, there's so much to talk about in this game, I don't even know where to start. First off, I'm not reading any of these messages because I'm playing in offline mode, so they're all just tutorials from the game. Through there's a big demon. Big scary boy. We won't be fighting him for a long time. But somehow we were imprisoned with the broken tip of a sword, or rather the broken hilt of a sword, with just a hint of blade, just a little sprinkle of blade, and it's all we've got to fight with at the moment. But we shall shortly be getting ourselves some better weapons. Weirdly, we have our armor already. They didn't like strip us down like the rest of these accursed undead. I'm going to try and explain the game lore as I go along. I'm not an expert. I've only played the first game, but I have played through it 3 or 4 times now, so I have a good sense of where things are, and I think I've found most of the secrets. I don't guarantee to show you all of them, but, you know. Oh, look, there's another fat demon up there. Hey, boy. Hey, boy. What'd you say, boy? Come down. Come bring that booty down here. What does this say? Huh. Get away. Oh, God! So if we head over here to the left, there's a door that opens when he comes down, and then conveniently closes behind us, so that he can't follow us in here, as though he could fit. These bonfires are basically checkpoints. They don't actually count unless you rest at them, but I'm just lighting them for lighting them's sake. This guy's firing arrows at us. We're supposed to use a shield in order to block them, but we can also just dodge them. And down here we get a knife. So we'll go ahead and equip a knife and a shield. Boom. I'll get into the basics of sword and board combat a little later. For now, just know I can block stuff with my shield, and I can slash up people with my dagger. It's about what you'd expect. This game has a lot of stuff that's not really properly explained to you at the beginning, but I'll do my best to explain as much as I can. There's an item up there, but we can't get to it, because this is clearly an impassable slope. There's no way we could possibly ascend. As you can see here, it is indeed futile. I'm not aware of anyone whose physical capacity is such that they could climb such a treacherous slope. The stairs, on the other hand, are totally safe except for the giant iron ball. I'm going to go down here and open this door. Whoop! First of many doors, which is only openable from the side where the latch is, because the chosen undead, which is us, is not capable of reaching through the bars and sliding it over from the other side. So, you know. Apparently reaching through the bars is considered breaking the fourth wall, and our characters won't do it.
You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
This is the guy who tossed me the key to my cell, so I'm kind of inclined to listen.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
It's a healing potion.
Oh, and this.
Key to the upstairs rooms.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
You're welcome, Oscar. If we walk out here, we can listen carefully. I'm not sure how far away I need to walk, but he's about to commit seppuku. There it goes! Oh my god, I got experience points for it. I never noticed that before. It's a little rough. Whoop, and we opened the door with the key that he gave us. Very nice. There's just more tutorials on the ground. So if you're playing in online mode, there'll be messages placed on the ground that have been put there by other players. And they vary from tips on what the next boss is weak to, all the way down to instructions on how to jump off of bottomless, or jump into bottomless pits. I love how when you get hit with an arrow, it sticks into you for a minute. There's a million things to talk about in this game, so I'm not going to rush myself in explaining everything, but suffice to say that it's a sufficiently deep game. This is locked. Although we started with the master key, it doesn't open everything. It only opens... It basically replaces a bunch of other keys in the game, but there's still some doors that it doesn't open, because it doesn't replace every key, just a lot of them. Hey, undead asylum demon. Land in his fucking head. Stab him in the, fucking head. And then slash him in the fucking feet. So this is the first boss. We could have fought him a minute ago when we were in here with just our broken sword hilt. You can imagine that would have been a bit harder, but oh, it is possible. In fact, if you do that, you get a special item that he drops, which he only drops if you do it that way. So just a little special. You may notice if you watch the damage that our knife does. It does a little bit of damage on the first two hits, and then a big amount of damage on the third hit. Okay. See that? That's because this knife inflicts bleed, which is basically... I don't know how to describe it. The key he drops opens the door so we can leave the asylum. It's if you make multiple hits in quick succession, and I believe the number is 3 for every weapon that has it, then you also get the bonus bleed damage. So I'll show the stats screen in a minute. Real quick, I'm going to run over here and grab this. I don't want to get too bogged down in explaining how everything works right at the beginning, because stuff kind of just comes up as it's needed. Oh, there's one other thing we should show. Where is it? Over here, there's a bird's nest.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Yeah, so if you drop certain items in that bird's nest, I don't exactly know how it works, I've never done it, and then like leave and come back, they'll be replaced with different items, because the bird that chills out there will trade you for them.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords Lordran.
Does Ran just mean land of? Like David's son, son of David? Lord Ran, land of lords? Oh. Look, there's a big old castle town and a big old... Oh, there's just a big cleft. We're gonna chill down here, I guess. I love how the cinematics sort of point you at, hey, go that way. In Lordran, level up and kindle at bonfires. Nice. So by resting at this bonfire, we can actually basically save our game. There's a little flame in the upper right-hand corner, over there, that will pop up occasionally. That means the game's auto-saving. But other than that, the only way to save is to rest at a bonfire. Lighting them doesn't count, you have to rest. So there's a few things that you want to do no matter what kind of character you're starting with. And I'm gonna actually play multiple characters through this series. I'm thinking 3 will probably cover everything. But there's a few things that you want to do with everybody. So the first thing is, we'll go ahead and spend all our souls here. For this character, I'm just gonna get... Oh, geez, I don't even know. I guess I'll just put the points into Dex and Vitality. That's fine for now. We're gonna go downstairs. So there are 3 ways to go from here. Technically, you can do any of them, but only one of them is actually where the developers intended you to go. But this is not one of those games where they put up a bunch of NPCs with signs saying, go this way, go north. Have you tried knocking on the door to the cave? You know, like, it's like basic tutorials. This game almost has deliberately bad conveyance where it just doesn't tell you what to do and expects you to just kind of try stuff and figure it out. So, for example, NPCs have multiple lines of dialogue that you only get if you talk to them more than once.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
My favorite thing with NPCs in this game is that a great proportion of them end their dialogue with a maniacal laugh.
Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit.
See what I mean? You got any more?
What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
'Tis only human to commit a sin. I'm just gonna keep going until I get a repeat.
What are you looking at? Don't try anything clever. You might regret it.
Dang. Alright, I'm putting my dagger away after that one. So we got 4 different dialogues out of him. 4 or 5, I think. There's another fellow up here who is similarly reticent to speak to us.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thoroland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
Oh. Can I talk to you some more?
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
Wow, a penny!
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you?
Yes, please, Mr. Cleric.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
Join his covenant. We basically just converted to Christianity.
Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
They literally scale with your faith stat. Teaches us how to shrug. So I don't know if we could cast any of these with our current faith, which is very low. Couldn't afford to buy any of them anyway, but you get the point. There's several effective things that you can do in here. There's one that lets you get extra messages from people online. This one lets you warp back to the last bonfire. This one blasts people away when they're too close to you. This one heals you. You get the point.
Come again.
They're useful
The
magics.
effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
This character won't be using faith. Another character will be. So let's see. I got the fire bombs over here. So there's a bunch of loot in Firelink Shrine, and this is kind of the hub for the game. And like I said, there's 3 ways to go. The correct way is past this tree, up those stairs, and across that bridge. But let's show the wrong ways, because why not? So, interesting concept in this game with death is that when you're killed, you only lose progress in 2 ways. Your current souls and humanity, which your humanity is in the top left, right now I have 0. And your souls are in the bottom right, I have 82. They both drop to 0, and you leave a bloodstain behind wherever it was that you died. And if you're able to make it back to that spot, you can reclaim your lost souls and humanity. Souls are basically experience points, and they're also currency in the game. So if you die, you really want to make it back to wherever you lost your souls, because fighting a bunch of enemies and gaining a bunch of souls only to die twice in a row and lose them, it really feels like you've just put yourself so far behind, because you put out all this effort and just didn't get anything for it. But you don't lose items that you have. So you see that corpse down there has one. There's another one over there, I believe. Another one over there. So if we can pick up these items, it doesn't matter if we die afterward. So let's make a little dash for it. These are just going to be... Oh, don't get stuck. Trying to go fast. Running around at the speed of sound. We got a round shield. I think that's slightly better than the one we have now, although it's not as good as most shields in the game will be eventually. Whoops, not what I wanted to do. As you can see there, skeletons around the graveyard are waking up, and they seem upset. Oh. Chill out, buddy. I just need to get this Y-hander and the binoculars, and then I can jump off a cliff. Yeah, so over here, there's actually a secret warp back to Firelink Shrine. Look at that! And for the low cost of 82 souls, which is basically nothing, we picked up all those items. So some of them are going to be soul items. Soul of such and such, large soul of such and such. These are just basically packs of experience that you can use at your leisure. This coin we'll be able to sell later for more souls. Oh god, there's so many items. I could okay, well, I can explain what the basic ones do. So binoculars, can you guess what they do? Well, that's right. Looking at shit that's far away. Let's see what's over on this bridge, huh? And look at that, there's some undead over there. They seem happy. Let's leave them alone. So that's one wrong path you can go. I guess I can kind of show how strong these skeletons are, because... Alright, let me tell you about my first experience with this game. I went into it basically completely blind. I knew that speedrunners chose the Pyromancer class because fireball. So I figure, ooh, I'll do that. That sounds fun. And then I proceeded to not know how to use it. But other than that, I really didn't know anything. So the first thing I tried to do was go through the graveyard. Because I saw all these items and stuff, and I was like, I'm going to fight some skeletons. Boom. But the problem is, these guys will kick your ass if you don't know what you're doing in this game. And even if you do know what you're doing, you are... Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, God. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. Easy, boys. Take it. Take it. Okay. My shield doesn't actually block all physical damage, so if you see, I'm going to get hit again and die. Even through the shield, that kills me. Because some shields block 100% of physical damage that's incoming, and some only block a percentage less than that. Something like 80% generally. You want to get a shield that blocks 100% physical damage as soon as possible, because otherwise it's just, what's the point? Right? Like, when you get hit on your shield, you lose stamina, which is the green bar. And if you're taking health damage at the same time, like, why even bothering to block, honestly? So I think, I don't know if the Caduceus round shield that we got does. You see, it does 85. The one we start with does 78. So you can see over there in the middle of the screen, damage reduction percent. I don't know why it's all abbreviated. You could have written the whole thing in the space you have there. But physical is 85%, so yeah, it's a little better. We'll switch to that, I guess. And now we'll go down the elevator. So this is the other wrong way you can go at the beginning of the game. So I spent about an hour fighting the skeletons and then said, fuck it, this is too hard. I'm going to go the other way, where I saw an elevator. And so I went down here. So if we drop off right over here, we get ourselves a little soul item. I'm not using any of these because until I actually consume them, I don't lose any of the souls. And down here, we get a great example of what happens to undead that have gone hollow. In this case, it means they have essentially succumbed to the despair of being undead. Their souls have been reduced to almost nothing. And they have no reason to do anything. Some of them are crazy, and others are just distraught. We don't really need to kill all these guys since we're not going to be able to take our souls back with us anyway. But down here we can talk to an ally. I always thought this game was kind of solo, but it turns out that you do make some friends along the way.
Hmm? Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Ricky of Vinheim. I was once an established smith. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
Yeah? Hey man, look at my face. I can believe, well, it's so blurry. Come on, depth of field, work with me here. Anyway.
Hmm? What is it?
Why are you in there?
Have you... Oh no, don't worry. I've no intention of escaping. It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, I've not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools.
How are you gonna forge anything in there?
What made me the best in Vinheim.
You didn't even have an anvil. You're just a guy in a cell. Anyway, this is our first access to a blacksmith. And we can't modify because that requires a special weapon. Or rather, a special item. We can reinforce our equipment. But we don't have the resources to do that currently. And from Rickert, who is actually a sorcerer from Vinheim, foreign land, if you're a sorcerer, you can buy sorcerer stuff from him. Or if you're not, you can buy the catalyst. So, which is basically your wand. Oh, this guy's worshipping a pot. Okay. I mean, First Amendment and all that. I can't tell him he's wrong. This guy's worshipping another guy. Ooh. This guy's worshipping a different pot. I wonder if these two know about each other. There's going to be some religious conflict. This guy is upset about another dead dude who has the estoc, which is a different weapon. We currently don't have the strength required to wield it until we get this hilarious animation when we try and use it, which is really funny. And that's going to be the case for basically any of these. Check out this giant Zweihanda, which is a great weapon you can use for if you're a strength character. We're going to be Dex, so for us this sword might as well be a sledgehammer with a 50-pound weight tied to it. Okay, I'm good. So we'll stick to our dagger for now. We'll find a good Dex weapon eventually. So you may have noticed in the first boss we did a plunging attack, which is where you jump off a ledge and dive on a dude. Let's try it again here. Oh, disappointing. Let me try one more time. I just landed on him. I guess that counts. I love it just dropping off. There we go. Does damage to him. We just land on his head. Transient curse. Fall in the pit. Fall in the pit. There we go. You get experience points for that. So transient curse. That's an interesting item. It lets us fight ghosts. As ridiculous as that sounds. You know, ghosts, you kind of just go right through them. They're incorporeal, ethereal beings. Well, if you have a transient curse active, which lasts for 5 minutes, you can actually fight these guys. But these guys are way too strong, so we're not going to fight them. Instead, we're going to run across this narrow path, which is hidden just below the water. Grab this item, and take another shortcut back to Firelink. And for the low, low price of 60 souls, we have met Rickert, collected the S-Dock, and picked up that last item, which was a Firekeeper's Soul. So these are bonfires. Like I said, they're the checkpoints and the save points in the game. They need to be kept running by people who basically commit their spirits to their maintenance. And those people are called Firekeepers. This is one down here. Her name's Anastasia. She can't talk because her tongue was ripped out. Kind of grim. But the other side effect of a Firekeeper's Soul is that it can be used to reinforce your Estus and essentially make your healing items heal more. So boom, we now have Estus Flask +1 down there at the bottom. If we try and talk to Anastasia, which I think is her name, she cannot speak, like I said. So we have, straight away, you can run through the graveyard and jump off the cliff and grab whatever items you want. That'll get you your hands on a slightly better shield than what the Thief starts with. It'll get you the Zweihander if you're going to play a big strength build. I think you need like 24 strength in order to wield it or something. And then you can run on to Londo Ruins and get the S-Dock, which is a fine dex weapon. It's very flaily and fencing kind of meh. It's a mamby-pamby sword, and I ain't having it. But the Firekeeper's Soul is really useful, and meeting Rickert is also good. Talk to this guy to get basic advice on where to go next. So let me show you one last thing here before we switch characters. Well, do we even need to switch characters yet? We haven't made it far enough for it to matter. Yep, we're wearing armor. That's not much to explain there. Let me go ahead and use all of my soul items to level up. And you can just consume these when you're near my left foot is doing a little dance. Da 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 da. And nom, eat those up. We should get another 2 levels out of this. Nice. Okay, let's go Vitality 12, Endurance 10. I'm not really thinking about it too much at the moment because they're all so low. Really doesn't matter. So, Graveyard, kind of dangerous. New Londo Ruins absolutely will destroy you. So instead, go this way. Oh, there's one other thing in Firelink before we leave that I want to show. There's a number of items that are hidden around this basic area. Oh, none of them are in pots. Don't bother with those. The only time you need to worry about a pot is if there's a dead guy in it, because those guys might have loot on the body, but the pot itself is never going to have anything good. But they are fun to roll through and break. It's very Zelda-esque. Just gives me that warm feeling in my heart. That guy's got a soul. Thanks. And this, oh my gosh, my first playthrough, I saw this and I was like, I ain't what do you take me for? You think I was born yesterday? I ain't jumping in that pit. Yeah, jump in that pit. because it's the bottom is like right here. You just can't see it. This is with the brightness turned up all the way, by the way. And then that takes you down to this little secret courtyard behind Firelink, where there's some chests. And here we can find Homeward Bones, which let us warp back to the last bonfire we used. Very nice. The big difference is we don't lose our souls or anything. We just get to warp back. Got a Morning Spar, which is a good strength weapon, and a Talisman, which is used for casting miracles, and a Cracked Red Eye Orb, which I think is for online play, so it's no use to me. And then over here, Lloyd's Talisman. If you read the description for that, it talks about how in the rest of the world, undead are seen as accursed beasts, and Lloyd's Talisman actually prevents the use of Estus flasks within a certain radius. So it's used by clerics in the homeland in order to subdue undead and have them shipped off to the great undead north, which is where we are here in Lordran. So if we play our cards right... Oh, I can't get to the other one. What the fuck? One of the skeletons followed me from the graveyard! Alright, I can fight one. Come on, let's go. So, if you walk around... This is a great chance to show you how Sword and Board works. So, holding up your shield, whatever button it is, it's basically, instead of taking health damage, you take stamina damage. And if you have 100% physical reduction on your shield, you only take stamina damage. You take no health damage. But with this shield, it's only blocking like 85, so I'm going to take a little bit of health as well. I guess my wrist hurts. I don't know. But essentially, you want to be blocking whenever you're not doing anything else. So exceptions are, if you've been hit a bunch and your stamina is low, like if I roll around a bunch to get rid of it, if I hold my shield up, it recharges really slowly. But if I put my shield away, whoop, it charges really fast. So if there's a moment in combat where you're not being engaged, you can drop your shield and let your stamina refill before the next blow comes. Because, let's see if he'll do it for me. If your stamina drops to 0, you'll be staggered like that, and your blocking will no longer be effective. You'll actually get totally caught off guard and you'll be vulnerable to a lot of attacks. So, that's the basics of shielding. Learning how the shield works was the biggest hurdle for me coming from Bloodborne. Because in Bloodborne there are no shields. They give you one, and it's extremely crappy, just to show you, like, hey, this game's not about blocking. It's about riposting. So, with the shield out... Oop, I buffed that one up. You can... miss. You can click the secondary button for your shield's side, your left hand, whatever it is, and that will do a parry, which is where you go, not getting me, buddy. No! Get out of here! Not in my house, or whatever you want to think of it as. And if you time that such that you do it right when the enemy's attack would hit you, that's late, you'll get a parry. I haven't practiced on the skeletons, and I'm particularly bad at it. So, give me a moment to demonstrate here. You'll know when it works because you'll get like a sound effect. Oh, too early. The problem with parrying is if you do it too soon, as you can tell, it puts your shield down. Boom, there it was. We'll do it again. Come on, give me another one. I'm trying to show people what happens. Too early. Get hit. Still too early. Oh my god. Like I said, I haven't Ooh. Oh, I got killed! Nice! Good on you, skeleton. Proud of you. So we'll get to see how the bloodstains work now. I had 596 souls and no humanity. So now if I run up the hill, I can go grab that. I should be right here at Firelink. It's the only bonfire we found, so I can just go up here and get a retrieval. Alright. Let's see if I can draw aggro on one skeleton. It's going to be a bit of a task. Because I would like to demonstrate how the rest of this works. Because the combat system is never really explained to you. Okay, I'll just turn around and see if one of them comes up here. Ooh, I don't want two. I just get one. Okay, we got two. Great. Generally, you don't want to fight two enemies at once, if at all possible. So I'm going to kill one, and then demonstrate on the other. Oh yeah, jump off the edge. Jump off the edge, you asshole. Oh, he didn't do it. I really thought he was going to go for it. So I'm demonstrating here the backstab, which is if you go behind an enemy, past their guard, and hit your light attack button. Sparta! You'll stab him in the asshole, and it does critical damage. It's great. And it's similar to how if you parry somebody, you can riposte. So let me see if I can do that here. Too early! That guy has a long windup on this move. That was too late, because you can see it happened after the attack staggered me. Come on. Oh, I waited. I went too early. There's a pause between parry and riposte that you have to put in, or you'll just do regular attacks. Oh, I always go early on that one. Such a long windup. Dang, I still didn't get the riposte. What's going on? I have to remember that I'm actually taking health damage from this because my shield is crappy. A little late. Oh, I was just slightly early. Oh, okay. I'm bad at parrying. What can I say? I want to demonstrate it. I'm better at backstabbing because it's really easy. You just walk around behind him and stab him in the butt. Enemies that don't reorient themselves quickly are very vulnerable to it. You almost just jumped off the cliff, you dummy. You got no brains in that skull. Boom! That's the timing. So that's what the riposte looks like. You just gut them. And I prefer the old stab them in the butt plan. The thing to keep in mind with that is that you can't do it while you're shielding. So you have to put your shield down, and you have to stand. You can't be right up on them. You have to have a little bit of space between the two of you, and you'll be able to do it. And then other than that, the basics of attacking are you have your light attack, and you have your heavy attack. Oftentimes, different items, different weapons, rather, will have different sort of combos you can do where one attack will move cleanly into another. So this is a heavy attack followed by light attacks. You can see how they go together really smoothly. There's really hardly any gap in the animation. Whereas if you try and go heavy attack, much slower, right? And multiple light attacks isn't really much faster, so you're better off with like that first heavy attack and then boom, 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 light attacks. That's how you go with a dagger for the most part, in my opinion. Okay, that's sword and board combat. Let's go ahead and go through the undead bird. Do I want to go to... Nah, alright. I'm going to show the basics of how some other stuff works. Mostly magic, but it's fairly straightforward, so... Goodbye! I love backstabbing these guys because they really just... They leave themselves so open for it. The other thing you have to watch out for is that a lot of times with backstabs, if you're... if the enemy's in the middle of an animation, it might be a little harder to get it to trigger. So you kind of wait until they finish, and then give them a good poke. Oh, I forgot to say, you can also kick. It's done by tapping the control stick and the attack button, or whatever it is that you're using to stab people on your control scheme. So, boom boom. Those are your many options. Let's go down here and fight that one last guy, because he's actually guarding an item that's kind of hidden. Not that one. That one. Boom! Yeah, I don't know what the dip multiplier is on how much damage the backstab does, but it's huge. It is absolutely worth getting good at. And parrying, for that matter. There's a couple bosses where being able to parry is a huge advantage. Another thing that isn't properly explained is how you jump. So, if you're standing still and press the dodge button, you'll get a nice little back step. If you're pressing a direction and press it, you get a roll. And if you hold it, you run. So this is the running. And then if you double tap it while running, you get a jump. That's the only way you can jump. You can't do it from standing still. So you'll probably be able to hear me tapping that button when I'm trying to jump, because you got to get those inputs in quick when it's time for you to make that jump. So down there, that guy was guarding a, well, he had a rare, or rather, a regular old Ring of Sacrifice. Cool thing with a Ring of Sacrifice is it makes it so that while you're wearing it, the next time you die, instead of losing your humanity and your souls, you just don't. You go back to the bonfire and keep them. And then the ring is destroyed, so it's consumable. There's actually a vendor in the game that sells them for, I think, 5,000 souls, so if you're getting to a level where you're running around with way more than that, it's worth it to wear one every now and then, especially if you're not sure about yourself in combat. But really, the time that I find they're most useful, oh, hello, is when you've died and you're trying to get back to your souls without dying again. Because there's nothing... Oh, plunge attack. Oh, it didn't trigger. I missed him somehow. Is when you die and you're trying to get back to your souls without dying again. Because there's nothing more frustrating than dying twice in a row and losing all of the experience points that you'd earned up to that point. So frustrating. Because it's just... it feels like you're going backwards. But really, you're not. In this game, there's nothing more valuable... Alright. The game said I couldn't attack him while he was on the ledge, so I'll have to wait. There's nothing more valuable than knowledge. Knowing an enemy's patterns, knowing what attacks they can do, the kind of weapons that you should be expecting to defend yourself from. Fuck you. And fuck you. And these guys climbed up. That is so much more valuable than experience points, because once you understand that, you can defeat the enemies so much more easily that you'll get those experience points back. The biggest thing to remember in this game is to try and avoid tilting. And for me personally, the biggest way to tilt out is to die after losing, and die and lose my experience points. So basically die twice in a row without recovering. You don't actually have to go all the way around to get that humanity. You can jump across this gap. And then I believe there's one more item down here that we need to grab. Whoop! There's a bunch of souls of undead that are scattered around here, so just pick those up as we go around. So there's a few more mechanics to explain. One is, when you rest at a bonfire, a lot of enemies will respawn. There are some enemies that don't, but pretty much like 95% of enemies will be respawning when you rest at a bonfire. So recognize that. Although, where'd that guy go? There should be a guy right there. There's usually a guy here. I guess he ran over to try and get me or something. Whoa, okay. This is a jumping attack. Boom. Doesn't do much of their blocking. Alright, you know what? I'm just blowing this really bad. Just stab him. Bloop. So yeah, so most enemies will respawn. So don't sweat it too much. Ugh, drat! Another impassable staircase. You'll get those experience points back eventually. Another thing to get used to is fog barriers like that. They're, honestly, I don't know why some of them are here. There will be one before most boss fights. You can't make this jump, don't try. But there's also some just randomly in the middle of areas. Oh, hello! Pretty. Alright, this is where the rubber hits the road as far as learning how to fight goes. By the way, this area is the way you're supposed to go when you start. I don't know if I mentioned that. Where these guys are actually fightable at your current level. Keep in mind we're using that dagger still. So we're in that same situation where 3 hits inflicts that bleed. Which is why that third hit is doing so much more damage than the other 2. So any opportunity we can get to do that wombo combo, we're going to go for it. That's what we're up against. Boom! Take out those 2. We're going to run over here. Fight these guys. Whoa. What? Oh, we're gonna do it? No, he's thinking about it. So if the guy has their shield up and just refuses to come at you, you can kick him. Oh, that's not a kick. You can kick him. And it'll knock their guard down. The timing on the kick is a little funny sometimes. Another thing I recommend is really, if you at all can, try and fight guys one at a time, just because it's so much easier. Being outnumbered makes a fight so much harder. In that same vein, feel free to summon a friend to help you with any bosses that you're struggling with, because even if they don't do any damage and they're just there, splitting the boss's attention makes the fights like 30% easier. So don't be afraid to, you know, engage in some jolly cooperation. Alright, boom. Lots of dead undead. Out here, there's a friendly one. He runs the shop. So we'll go ahead and use up the rest of our humanity items before we talk to him, because we're going to buy some stuff. Nice. And nice. Alright. What you got, buddy?
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? Then you are a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
Okay. Okay, so throwing knives, actually useful. We're going to grab 10 of those. It's only 100 souls. They're great for pissing off one guy so that you can draw him away from his friends. The rest of these we don't really need. The residence key is replaced by the master key, so we literally don't need that. The repair box lets us repair our weapons at a bonfire. That can be useful, but eh. Bottomless box, we're going to buy that because it lets us clear crap out of our inventory. So I'm going to go with what's called a quality build on this character, which means really I want a long sword, but he's only got a short sword, so I'll buy that. I'm also going to buy the heater shield, which has 100% physical damage reduction, which is nice. We could buy some chainmail. I don't particularly want chainmail because it's kind of heavy and clanky. I'll explain how encumbrance works with the heavier character that I'm going to do in a minute. So let's see. Do I need any of this stuff? Do I want a bow? I think I might want a bow. I can't afford it though. Well, dang. Alright, let's buy 92 arrows.
Thank you, kindly.
We'll just save up for the day we can buy a bow. So this is your basic sword and board type character. Really, you can pick the pyromancer, the thief, the warrior, the wanderer, the hunter. Any of those martial type classes will be just fine for the sword and board build. And I wouldn't worry about it too much. Your starting class doesn't matter that much. There's no item that a starting class gets that you can't just find in the game. So if you're real sussed about not having that ability to throw a fireball, don't worry. There's a guy you can buy it from. Now we can make this jump from on the roof. So we'll go ahead and do that. Out here we'll find a... Actually, I think there's a crossbow here. Nice, I should have bought bolts when I'm a dummy. Anyway. Yeet. Let's go ahead and engage this next bonfire. And then we'll call it there for this character. I am going to build two other characters and show you the basics of how they work, just so you get a sense for the other ways to play this game. Really, the main other way is magic, but there's a big difference between playing a heavy armored character and playing a light armored character, just in the way that they come around. So, boom, we'll go ahead and leave it off here, and then go ahead and switch characters. Alright, I made a second character, which I created as a sorcerer. So this one, for the most part... Fuck you! The only difference here is... Oh, by the way, she's... she's horrible. Her name's Willow. I'm just going to show you the basics of how sorcery works. So there's a few ways to use magic in this game. I guess 3. Pyromancy, sorcery, and miracles. Sorcery scales with your intelligence stat in terms of damage and the like. Miracles scale with your faith. And pyromancy scales with how much money you've spent on it. Literally, you can buy upgrades for your pyromancy. So, and that's the only way to upgrade it. Fire damage in general in this game does not scale with any particular stat. So, it's good to invest in the items and the spells you get. So, but this character's a sorcerer, so we're going to be nice and smart. So we're going to use our int to our advantage. Hey guy, see you later. Just not interested in fighting you. They give like 20 souls, they're just not worth the time. Hehe. And you can go ahead and whoop. We'll skip through. Actually, you know what? You don't have to skip it. This is how you skip Oscar's dialogue right here. But why? All the items I drop are right here. Oh no. Why, Oscar? Because I didn't want to listen to your dialogue. It's cold, I know. Oh, I still have the... I still have the fucking... Get out of here. I just love the broken sword equip. So the difference with the sorcerer is when you come out here, there'll be an extra item. Pyromancers, clerics, and sorcerers will find an item here that lets you cast your magics. So, with that equipped, you can cast Magic Missile! It's actually called Soul Arrow. But, it does a good bit of damage. And for sorceries, you're going to want to lock on, because that's basically the only way to aim. You can technically aim it with a bow, but... oh, forget about it, dude. I guess I have a dagger, so let me just do this fight. Can't get a plunging... well, you can get a plunging attack with the wand, but don't bother. Just use the dagger for this part, and then switch back to your magics. And we're going to get kind of far away from the boss, and just fire some magic missiles at him until he dies. Unlike the actual magic missile, these can miss if things go badly. Woo! Ho! Barely was outside the range. Barely was inside the range, rather, for that one. Oh, and that sucks. I had my shield up, though, so I mostly lost stamina. And we're going to fire this last one directly into his anus. Oh, he turned around. You ruined it, buddy. But you get the sense there that of how much more powerful magic is in general, one-shotting those guys. My advice for sorcerers is generally try and stay a little farther away from combat and let your magic do the talking. The other thing to keep in mind is that as a sorcerer, you do have a limited number of castings. You can see we have 18 soul arrows that we can use before we have to rest at a bonfire again and replenish our stock. So we can actually increase the number of soul arrows we can cast, but only by buying additional copies of the scroll. So, remember I mentioned Rickert, the guy down in the New Londo ruins? Let's go visit him again. So if we go and talk to Rickert, not only is he a blacksmith, he's also a basic sorcerer. We'll skip his dialogue here. Get to the point where he's willing to do business with us. You can go to purchase item and buy extra spells. Look at that. So if we don't have a sorcerer's catalyst, and you'd like one, you can come here and buy one for 500 souls. You can also buy Soul Arrow for 2,000. Thanks.
Come back.
Come back soon. Y'all come back now, you hear? Oh, another thing I forgot to show, which I need to do on my other character as well, is that if you have the Master Key, which this character picked as their gift, you can open this gate. And right here there's a large soul of a nameless soldier, which gives you, I forget how many souls. 1,000, which is basically one level up early in the game, so worth grabbing if you have the Master Key. I wouldn't bother exploring any further in here unless you're getting real daring. But if you are getting real daring, there's some stuff you can do over here. I'm going to make a video about that. Well, honestly, we'll just do it now. I'll just show you. So you remember how we did a couple crazy suicide runs into the graveyard for those items and over to the island in New Londo Ruins where the ghosts chased us into that secret wrong warp back to the start? Well, there's another enemy over here that has a good number of useful items. The danger here is that, well, this guy's dead. Well, technically he's undead. You can grab this one just fine. But if you try and grab these items, it gets a little pissy. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back. You have to be pretty quick to dodge that and grab both of them and get out of there. If you actually stand kind of in the middle in between the two, you can get the prompt to pop up for both of them. So you can just mash through it and it's faster. But I'm gonna go back there and grab my echoes, echoes. Stupid Bloodborne. My souls. Just because that's a free level up. And I'm gonna be playing through 2 characters, so I need that EXP, yo. Is he awake? You can keep those souls, sir. There's very little chance I'll be able to go in there and grab them again, so whatever. We got the items that he dropped, which is a very nice sword and shield, which neither of which this character is sufficiently able to wield. But you can see here, it's a nice shield with a dragon on the front. That's pretty, and it's a sword, which scales with 3 different stats. So let me show you what that means. So if you look down there in the bottom left where it says Param bonus, you'll see some different icons and some letters. That's telling us how much our stats are affecting the damage that this weapon does. So the first one with the flexing arm, that's obviously strength. There's a hand for dex, a little stick. I guess it's a candle? Oh, it is a candle. I never been able to... My TV's too far away. I'm playing on a monitor, which is much closer, so I can actually see what the icons look like. And that is definitely a candle, like for enlightenment. That's intelligence. And then the last one is a star for faith. So the letter next to each one indicates how much that stat affects the damage of the weapon. And they go from E up to A, and then S is the highest. So C on 3 different stats means that there are 3 stats we can raise that this sword will benefit from. Strength, Dex, and Faith, which is nice. But we can also see on the required parameters, we don't have enough strength or faith to effectively wield this, so stick with the wand. So if you are playing a sorcerer, or if you just like snatching up armor early, let me show you some cool armor that you can get early game. Whoa! Take it easy there, buddy. Just dodge these guys. You need the master key in order to get here, because we unlock the gate from New Londo Ruins. Here being Blighttown. It's not a fun area. Let me be clear. This is another one of those run in, grab items, and die type runs. Oh my god, they're coming this way. That is... Normally that key is what lets you go back the other way. I think those guys are too fat for ladders, so they should just give up. But if you have the master key, you can come this way on your own. Okay, I guess I'll use my arrows here. Yeah. How many is it going to take? Like 6? I won't be this close. There's bees around. Oh god. Honestly, probably should just run from any enemies that you see here. Unlock, please. We are not here to grab experience. We're here to grab items. So I think down here. Land on his head. Fuck you. Whoops. Slippery little platform we'll run across. Crap, this is not it. Oh no. Oh no. See you later! Jump down. Oh god, they're on top of me. Jump down here, there's a dead body with a crimson stuff. There's also a chest here which I think has a sorcery in it for remedy. That'll let us cure poison, which is a... Look, I found a warp back to Firelink, which is a spell that removes poison and other status ailments from you. The cool thing is, You don't have to fight anybody there. You can literally just run past everybody, jump down the ledges, and you can get the Crimson set, which is a really good set for a sorcerer starting out. Not only do you look like this kick-ass wizard type person, it's also got good stats. Like, honestly, you could wear this for like 2/3 of the game and it would scale just fine. The fact that we had to use the Master Key and we went into an area that we're supposed to go to much later and found this should kind of tell you how much stronger this is than the stuff you start with. So there's the basics for getting going with a sorcerer. I'm sure there are other things you can pick up, like random catalysts and things. This game is full of beautiful secrets to find, but as far as starting with a sorcerer goes, just buy some extra soul arrows from Vickard, and if you equip more than one, your total uses will go up. Boom, we have 60. Rickard, that's his name, not Vickard. Rickard. And also, if you want to, you can run in there and grab the Crimson set. Only if you have the Master Key, though. The long way around is not worth it. You're just going to be playing the game at that point. So, let's go ahead and show you... I'm going to show you where some heavy armor is for a heavy armor type character. Honestly, this one's kind of... that's too far out of the way. I'm not going to do it. So, let me start one more character to show you about different kinds of rolling. You guys okay? So this is a character I started the game with. I named him Dude McKnight because I chose the Knight starting class. And so as you run around, you can already see this guy's kind of slow. And that's because of his equip load. So if you go to the status screen and look in the middle top, you can see equip load as a fraction. If that fraction is less than 1/4, so if you're under 25% equip load, you get what's called a fast roll, which is when you roll, you just kind of land on your feet real quick. Real nimble, real spicy. You can do multiple in a row. It's very nice. Whereas if you have a whole bunch of heavy armor on, you might, and you're in between 1/2 and 1/4, you'll get a mid-roll, which is a nice, relatively quick roll with a kind of a slow getting up animation. This is a fat roll. If you're above 50% carrying capacity, not only do you lose movement speed, it's actually linear, so every pound counts. But if you're above half, you go from mid-roll to fat roll, which is... You don't dodge as far, and it's really slow getting up. Like, good luck chaining these together and dodging something big. So when you're playing through, you generally don't want to be in the fat roll territory because this is just useless. Backstep is still good, but the roll sucks. And the roll backwards generally goes a lot farther than the backstep, so it's just better. You generally don't want to be in fat roll territory if you can avoid it. Maybe if you're playing like a really tanky, high armor type character, you could do it. And, well, you know what? I don't like that playstyle. It's just me. That's an opinion. But if you're really into blocking and parrying, maybe you don't need to roll. Maybe you tell the bosses to go fuck themselves, and you just tank that shit. But for me, I like to at least get a mid-roll, if not a fast roll. So, you know, there's your options. Technically, if you go over your capacity, so if you go like above like 100% of what you can carry, then you get all kinds of weird problems. Like you can't run properly, you can't roll at all. It just gets really bad. So don't do that at all. Never ever do that. And that's about it for this episode. So next time, we're going to progress with our two characters. I'm going to be playing through as a sorcerer and as a sword and board type character. And that's, well, I'm tempted to do 3, so I can show you what the faith miracles look like, as well as what the heavier armors can offer you. So I guess let's make one more character. Alright, here's my third and final character. This guy is going to focus on heavy armor and faith. And not only do you get a heavy armor set to start the game, you also get a full damage reduction shield and a broadsword, which has this great heavy attack that sweeps the area in front of you, making it really hard to miss, as you can see there. We're both at the very end of my swing. Huh. Even with a heavy character, these guys are still so bad at their jobs that they just die anyway. The one downside to this character, which is starting with the Knight class, is that you fat roll right from the beginning. Just as you can see, it's almost like you should have just ran instead of rolling, because you would have got there faster. Good news is, for big boys like this, you do get pretty strong. So this character is going to focus on being a strength build. Really just got no problems with the Asylum Demon in these characters. This is my big knight boy. His name is Winslow. I don't know why I named him that. It's just the first thing I thought of. So another thing to notice is, oh, the movement speed is so slow, and the fat rolling. It's like every roll you're winded. You're just like, oh god, why am I doing gymnastics? I weigh 280 pounds. Just every time. It cracks me up. It's like, you expect me to do parkour and plate mail? Fuck you. So Winslow's going to be taking advantage of the talisman that you can find for free in Firelink, which again is back here behind the elevators. So that is our basic starting point for these characters. I think I might really just spice this up and alternate characters each episode. This first one doesn't count because I'm going to kind of show all three. But in later episodes, starting with the next one, I will cycle between these three characters to show you what different experiences are like. And I'll give, I'll put in post-commentary with footage of each character fighting each boss. So you can get a sense for what's a heavy armor character going to be playing this like versus a medium armor, light armor type character. What's the difference between doing sword and board versus going for magic, you know, etc., etc. So thank you guys so much for watching. In the next episode of Let's Play Dark Souls Remastered, I am going to probably lay an egg, because this guy honestly looks like he's about ready to pop. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Oh god, knocked the wind out of me. One last thing to show you. So the other advantage of a heavy armor is it gives you a stat called Poise, which lets you just take shots to the face without giving a fuck. Not really, it just makes it really hard for you to be staggered the more poise you have. So you can just get smacked around like this and not care. It's great. Plus, heavy weapons disassemble skeletons. That's fun. God, if you pick the black character and then go hollowed like this, you look like one of those bog people. Like one of those bodies that's been like preserved in like a peat bog. Oh, that's creepy. I'll put a picture of it in here.